Alrighty, so it's time to address these tires. They're pretty bad. They're beyond dry rotted all the way around. They're not safe to drive on whatsoever. So I forgot my keys to get into the van, which is great. But we've got to get these tires changed. I was hoping to get into the van. There's a tire in here. That was the spare tire. I was hoping to keep one of these that's actually somewhat holding air as a spare, but it really doesn't matter. I just need, if I'm going to have a spare for this, I need to have a spare that's in good shape, that's not going to blow up after putting it on. So I guess I'll just pull these 4 tires and rims off and get the new tires put on. I found some used tires on Marketplace, and we're gonna get them slid on here. We went with the larger size that's currently on the van. This is the size it's supposed to be on it. It's a 185/75 R14, and this side has the larger size, which is 205/70 R14. The tires we got are 205/75 R14, so these are going to be even taller than these guys. Hopefully they will fit all right. It's pretty close to scrubbing right now, but the torsion bars, this side's also flat, so it's making this side seem a little lower. But the torsion bars in the front of this are also a little droopy. See, a smaller tire, but it's up higher on this side as well. But the torsion bars are a little droopy in the front, so we might just have to turn them up just a hair. Is it leafs or is it springs in the rear? It's springs. These came with either or. It definitely does have the springs in here. This thing is pretty well rust free. It's surprising sometimes. Taking a look underneath this thing and just going, whoa. There's some rust right here, but that's really the worst of it. Have to address that. Have to do a bit of an undercoating because this is my winter vehicle this year, so hoping to get the title to it soon. But let's go ahead and get these tires off. Alright, so got 3 tires off. I didn't need to pull that 4th one off because again we're going to use that for a spare. I was able to find the keys for it and get it open and get that horrid tire out of there that's completely cracked. This one that's currently on there is also horribly cracked, but it's the only one that's holding air that's that size or close to that size, so we're going to keep it. We're going to get these guys swapped out down here at Les Schwab, getting them done. You can see this guy, let's see, this guy and this guy have a little bit of a funny wear to them. That guy and the other guy has a lot of tread left. You can see size difference, but cool. We got those tires mounted up back there. They look a heck of a lot better than they did. Well, obviously, new tires. These rims are for another project. You guys may not see that, but let's go get these tires put on. Alrighty, so tires are on, and they look great. I actually really like the kind of oversized tire in the wheel well. They fit nicely in the back, but not so much in the front. You can tell just by looking at the van. I really do need to turn those torsion bars up. The front goes down. It's lower in the front than it is in the back. I don't know if you can tell from here to here, but you can see a little bit of an uphill on the edge of the van here. But yeah, the fronts definitely do not fit as nicely. You can see that's going to rub right there. The other side somehow seems to be worse. We're gonna have to turn those torsion bars up in the front just a little bit, see if that helps. If not, we're gonna have to do some clearancing in the wheel wells. But like I said, somehow this side seems to be worse. As you can see, that is obviously not going to fit. As soon as that wheel turns out, we're going to be hitting this. The back seems to clear okay, but it's that front. I wonder, is this lip different than it is on the other side? Because it doesn't seem like that lip is there. Yeah, it is different. That lip is actually pushed up instead of sticking down. I wonder if someone previously did that. Yeah, see? It's got a bend to it. Then again, it is turned this way. Turning it this way, it might end up contacting right here. Can't do a ton of clearancing on the front because it's the door as well right here, so let's turn those torsion bars up and see where that gets us, because I think that's really the next step. The only next step that we can do right now is to turn up those torsion bars. And if you don't know what a torsion bar is, instead of having a leaf spring, here, let's take a bit of a field trip here. This is a leaf spring. And to get a higher lift out of a leaf spring, you've either got to add leaves to the pack or add one of these guys where you can change the position of the spring. And yes, I know these springs are going to be going very soon. They're very, very worn out. Or you've got coil springs like this, and to add height to these, you've either got to put a different spring rate in there, something a little thicker, a little bit longer, whatever, or put a puck, which are illegal in some states. A puck is just a piece of high impact plastic or rubber that will sit in there and actually space the suspension out a little bit more. Or you've got torsion bars. Torsion bars are kind of what it sounds like. They are bars that are the springs. Let's see, let's get under here. Alrighty, so nearly halfway back, here's your adjustment for your torsion bar. Adjustments right there. You're gonna tighten this guy up to bring the suspension up in the front. You're going to want to count how many flats you're going to go up, or how many turns. You want to mark that with a marker or something, and count how many times it goes around, and you want to match it on the opposite side. There's two in the front, obviously. The torsion bar from here connects to, on this vehicle, the top side. It's up in there, but should have shown you with the tire off. And it connects through that A-arm right here, up top. And it, the spring motion is the actual twist of the bar. So instead of having a coil spring or a leaf spring, it's actually, yeah, it's the twisty motion of the bar. We're gonna have to turn those up and see what we can get out of this. Get a little more lift in the front. Let's see if we can clear these tires. They are pretty large. They're on the large side for this van. Seeing as the original size was a 185/70, I think it was a 185/70R14, and this is a 205/75R14. And another quick lesson for you guys. I'm not talking about the size on my Jeep. We'll look at that here in a second. 205 is your width. 75 is your percentage of this number for height. And then your rim size. R does not mean rim, that means radial. 75 radial 14. On bias ply tires, there will be no R. A lot of people are going to argue about that one, but yeah, 205 is your width. 75 is the percentage of this first number for your height of tire, and 14-inch rim. To be honest, pretty sure this is SAE. 35 would be your width. No, sidewall height, then your width, then your rim size. So 35, 1250, 17. Totally different with this tire size. This tire size is confusing in a way, but actually makes a little more sense. Because you've got your 35, your 12 and a half wide, and your size 17 rim. Alrighty, let's address these tires here. See if we can get these to fit. What we're going to start off with is turning up the torsion bars on the front. Trying to get a little more height out of it. Let's see, we're going to measure it here on the corner of the door. It's currently sitting at 11 and 3/4. 11 3/4 in the front. And 12 and 5/8. 12 and 5/8 in the rear. Let's check the other side. See how symmetrical. Yeah, if we're 11 and a quarter over here. 11 and a quarter. And 12 and an eighth in the rear. So this side does sit a little lower than the right side. That tire looks a little low too. Even though I just had them changed, maybe they're squishy like that. I don't know. I'll need to air them up, but at least we're on a trailer to do this, because we're nice and level on the trailer at least. I don't know if the trailer's level. I'd imagine not perfectly, but at least we're on a nice flat surface to be able to do this on. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna jack up the front. Where you gonna start, because when you are turning up torsion bars, you do not want to turn them up with the vehicle loading up the front end. That is a recipe for bad stuff. Okay, it's up off the ground now. Barely, but it is. It is up off the ground. Where are the keys? So, jacked all the way up. It's clearing on this side. It feels like it's hitting something on the other side, though. It definitely is, and that's not something we're going to be able to do anything about. It's rubbing. Rubbing right there. Well, that's round. I don't think it'll chew up the tire. I would be okay with it hitting that, so I don't think it does it on this side, but it does on this side. That torsion bar is just made a little different on this side, I guess. But it is also clearing on this side, which I am happy about. All right, sorry about that. My video stopped recording because I still had it on the 60 frames per second 4K video. I use that for while I'm walking around. It smooths the frames out big time. So we are rubbing on this side on the inner part when we're jacked up all the way. We're not rubbing on the other side. what does that get us to? Where's the tape measure? Something like that would be kind of realistic. If I can go up that far, it's going to clear stuff. That is now a lot more. It's nearly 14 even. It's 13 is 7/8. So if I could get that much of a lift out of it and then put some lift pucks in the back to get it all lifted that high, I'd be pretty happy with that. This is a two-wheel drive version. It's not the four-wheel drive. But let's turn those torsion bars up, see where we can get with it. Yeah, let's get under there and get those torsion bars done. All right, let's see if I can video this. So I've already pulled off the jam nut. That was the jam nut up against here, stopping that from moving completely. Already got that guy off. So these are 22 millimeter or 7/8 of an inch. Using my big impact gun to move them. Being careful not to strip them out, because using impacts can actually seize up bolts sometimes. I do need to put some lubricant on this side before I start. I haven't done that on this side yet, but I have already done the other side. I did 10 full turns. I'm starting with 10. That seems like a lot. It might be, but on my Toyota pickups that I've done this with, that's usually where I start with, is about 10 turns, seeing where that gets me. Obviously there's plenty of thread up in there, so we're not using up all the thread, but just see what we get after 10 turns. I did not have the socket, and I did not have the extra cash. It's end of the month, so it is rent is due. So I didn't have the extra cash to go get an extra long socket. They're like $30, $40 bucks. So I made one. I had a 7/8 Husky. Please ignore the welding. That is horrid. I don't have my nice machine running right now. The wind kicked up while I was welding, and it started bubbling really badly. But I just welded on this cheap Taiwanese socket onto this nicer Husky. I also drilled out the bottom of the Husky so it would actually fit through, and that's what I'm turning it up with. Some of you might laugh, but hey, you do what you got to do. Alrighty. Like I said, let's see if we can get this done. Oh, let's see, there's my socket. So we're going to use the wolf's head, or the husky head, or whatever, as our mark, or the crappy weld, whichever one you want to focus on. We're going to count that going around. 1, there's 10. Again, it doesn't seem like a whole ton, but let's see what that gets us. For those who are worried, yes, I do have my jack stands under here, and they're not Harbor Freight jack stands. They are Cornwell jack stands, so they're not going anywhere. All right, let's see what that gets us. Now I do know that it's not going to quite settle right away. It needs to be kind of driven, moved around. The tires are going to grip on the deck, and they're not going to slouch and relax very much. Let's see what we can do about that. I already tell you, it looks better. Yeah, it's already looking a lot better. I wanted to drop it kind of fast to see if I could get it to relax a little bit. See if I can put it in neutral and roll it forwards and backwards. Alrighty, so we got it relaxed as much as possible. Let's see what it's at over here now. We're at 13. We really go up that much? That's awesome. We're at 13 even on this side. See what the other side's at. We're at 12 and a half on this side. So this side does need to be turned up some more to be even. That's already looking a lot better. I haven't jacked it up yet. Just got it touching. And that is already clearing a lot better on both sides. We're still gonna have to do something about that corner. Might just have to cut the corner off. Those are grippy tires. Yeah, I think we might just end up cutting this corner from right here, right there, off. Cut that corner off. But that, like I said, it's already clearing a lot better. Let's go ahead and turn the steering wheel real quick. Kind of to where it was before. It's clearing there. Hasn't touched anything. On the front side is practically sitting on this part right here. And it looks a lot better there. Let's see. Let's bring you in here. Get you up close as I turn it. Let's go ahead and turn it and see what it does. I don't know if I'll be able to see it from here. Yeah, I can see it. Barely scrubbing right there. If I was driving, it definitely would scrub. So again, I think on that side, I'm going to need a cut. Just like on the other side, cut this corner off right here. Middle clear. 205 75R 14s. I'm really liking the look of it. I think they look kind of on the tough side. I think they look pretty stinking good. Now, let's go to the other side real quick. One thing to keep in mind is there is no one sitting in this currently, and I am directly over the axle. So when I sit down, this is going to drop or droop. So we're going to need to compensate for that. Let's go ahead and sit down in this. And again, there's only one person sitting down in it. It didn't drop too much. It's not like my Volkswagen. Oh, you know what? Like, it didn't drop too bad. The jack is currently touching the bottom. Let's move that guy out of the way. It'll be a different story. My Volkswagen, my VW bus drops quite a bit. It's not terrible. Like I said, though, we're going to have to compensate for that. So when we load up the van with either people or stuff or whatever we're loading it up with, we don't drop it enough to where it rubs. So I'm going to work on it here for a bit. I've actually got somebody coming to meet me to buy the air compressor. I'll put a link here somewhere that I got years and years and years ago. Been using it on and off. It's time to let it go. I've got that 5 horsepower, a little bit smaller, easier to transport. But I got somebody coming to take a look at that right now and buy it. So I will be back in just a bit, tubers. Like I said, I'm going to work on this off camera. I'm going to get both sides evened out as best I can. And then I'm going to pick it up just a little bit, jack it up just a little bit more to compensate. But I'm liking it so far. Sweet. Be back in a bit. Alrighty, so we've got everything buttoned up. We've got the jam nuts put back on. And it's looking pretty good. I'm liking it. Show you what, a little bit of a before and after, if you will. Give me 1 second. See, and I'm liking that look. Going from kind of lower to a little bit higher. We've done nothing to the rear end as of yet. And I don't know if we're going to need to. It's sitting pretty stinking level. I think the front might be sitting slightly higher right now. Rear is sitting right at 13. Front is sitting 13 and a half, so it's a half an inch taller in the front. Which I'm okay with, to be perfectly honest. And when we start driving this, it might change a little bit. It might slouch just a little bit more, because again, it is sitting on the trailer. I tried to get it to slouch as much as possible, but it's not going to truly slouch until we are driving it and have weight in the front. That's that half inch in the front, I'm hoping will compensate for weight of driver passenger and possible. I mean, further back you go, the less weight is up here on this front axle. So, pretty happy with it. And I like the look of a little bit of a lift and tucking as big a tires in as you can. But not making it unusable either. Obviously, I'm not really going to be doing any sort of off-roading with this. Again, this is just going to be my winter vehicle. Bit of a small project for a little bit. And most likely eventually sell it. But for right now, I'm going to drive it and enjoy it. I've always kind of wanted one of these quirky, cool vans. So that's it for the new tires and free lift. We're gonna call it there. If there is any more on leveling it out, making it perfect, I will make sure to make a video on that. Alrighty, I heard what you guys were saying. It looked funny. I agreed. Drove it around for a little while with that front end, picked up a little bit. Started looking at it a little bit closer, and it really did look funny. So that rear end now has a lift kit on it. Link in the description of what I used. If you can see it up in there, let's see if we can get you in there. Yeah, you can see it right there. Let's get under there, I'll show you. Alright, as you can see, you got some pucks up in there now. They're Daystar pucks. Made for a 90 through 95 4Runner. All you do is cut the centers out of them, and they fit perfectly, as you can see. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Those are 1 1/4. I think the 1 1/4 works okay. Kind of wish I went with the 1 1/2. Can't see this side. Yeah, I kind of can. Kind of wish I went with the 1 1/2, but that's okay. I think it looks a heck of a lot better than it did. You can actually see the tire now. The body line's a lot nicer. I'd rather have it slightly higher in the rear now. And I think it's sitting just about like perfectly level. Actually perfectly level now. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the final measurements here. I know the correct way of measuring what size of lift you achieved would be center of the axles, front and rear. But we've been measuring it this way for this video. This is how we're going to finish the video out. Front measurement is 13 7/8. Rear measurement is 14 1/4. So the rear end does sit just a smidge higher, which I'm really happy about. I'd rather have the rear end sit slightly higher. So that 1 1/4 inch pucks in the rear was the right way to go. I actually really like it. So I'm a lot happier with that. We got a new face for it as well that we'll be putting on. It actually says Toyota. It matches that white and black around the headlights. But yeah, I think that'll be it, tubers, on this guy for the lift kit. There's many more videos to come. Consider subscribing. You can click here to subscribe. Here's my latest video uploaded to the channel, and then here will be a playlist of all the videos on this van. So I hope you guys have a good one. I heard you were commenting down in the down in the comments saying this needed to be a little more level. I heard you. I got it done. Not too bad. Love this thing. Hope you have a good one, tubers.